Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Frame. It's been a little while since you and I have been on the show, Orly, but
It
it's been
has.
worth the wait, right?
Yeah, but we've definitely been busy with other things, so stay tuned.
We absolutely have. We have a really interesting show here today. Today we have with us Autumn Mowery, and at the young age of 20 years old, I'm so impressed that Amanda already owns her own bowling center. And the name is a little bit unusual, Demanda's. But it is a Candlepin center, and what we have learned about Amanda has just blown us away, and we wanted to bring her story to all of our viewers out there so that you can see just what it is when someone has a passion to go after and say something that's very important to them. So welcome, Autumn. It's very nice to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, Orly, we are ready to dig in and learn a little bit about Autumn and this burning passion that she has for candlepins.
Yeah, no, I've been excited. I came across her on a news article, and then I went to like her TikTok. If you guys have the chance, check it out. I'm sure before we go, we'll give her the chance to give her TikTok name on there. And yeah, it's interesting to me because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know anything about candlepin bowling besides playing it on video games I've played before on Nintendo Switch. But so I mean, first off, can you just tell us a little bit about candlepin bowling, maybe some of the differences between candlepin bowling and regular 10-pin bowling for those who might not know much about it?
Yeah, of course. So pretty much with Candlepin, you have handheld bowling balls. That's probably my favorite part of it. So actually, I have them right beside me. So instead of your generic bowling balls, they have the finger holes. These ones are literally just handheld, all the same weight and all the same size. So I have all of my bowling balls here are 2 pounds and 7 ounces. There are some that you can get like an ounce less or an ounce more if you try to, get personal ones. But yeah, so these are what you're using when you come to play Candlepin, and you actually get 3 shots per frame. So you still get 10 frames just like the regular 10 pin, but you're getting 3 throws each frame instead. So with that third additional ball, you got smaller targets as well. The pins are extremely narrow, candle-like, hence the name. So you've got still 10 pins, but they're just all very narrow. So you've got a smaller target, using smaller bowling balls as well. So it is pretty nice. And it's honestly really challenging. So you can still get a score of 300, just like your typical 10 pin. But that score has never been achieved. The highest today is 245. And it's been achieved twice. In records. So it's definitely pretty challenging. Another thing I really like about Candlepin is the pins that you knock down. That is referred to deadwood. The deadwood actually stays in play. In 10 pin, it usually sweeps away the pins. It will then set the still standing pins back down. You go again for your second ball. With Candlepin, you get to use those laid down pins to your advantage. So if you've got a laid down pin right in front of the ones that are still standing, use that ball and you can sweep them all away with that dead wood. So even though you've got the third ball, you can use the dead wood, all of those advantages, it's still a pretty tricky game. And I like to put it out there, that if you've already got a score of 310 pin, that you should really try, Candlepin and try that out. So
yeah,
That's
for
pretty
sure.
interesting.
It really changes the strategy. I mean, there's a lot of different strategy involved, and I think I heard a challenge out there. So if you've got a 300 under your belt in traditional 10 pin bowling, give it a shot. Go see Autumn and see just how challenging Candlepin is. That sounds really exciting.
I got a random question. When you showed that ball, do
yeah.
you get anybody that gets kind of crazy with it, trying to chuck it kind of far since it's kind of lighter? And
my first month in running this place, I had some tourists come in and I hadn't yet got my rant down just yet. So like today someone comes in, I've got like a spiel that I just give them. Well, I hadn't gotten that down just yet. So I kind of left a couple things out, and while I'm explaining to them about, the deadwood, one of the guys picked up one of the bowling balls out of the ball return, and he's, spinning it. He's looking at it and he's looking down the lane and he points and he starts to go like this. I go, no. And he's like, what do we do with it? And I go, you still underhand it. And he's like, what? And I was like, well, if you can make it all the way down the lane, that's pretty impressive, but I was like, but please don't do it here. But yeah, I do get a lot of people that are, look at it weird. I've also had people, because we have the bar side as well. Fortunately, we do just malt, not hard liquor, because I feel like that way extra to it, but we still have some people that will come in, get a little tipsy, and I've had people throw 3 lanes over. I've gotten a whole ceiling above the lanes from a ball hitting one of the ceiling tiles. And I have had someone overhand the bowling ball before, and luckily it was not very far and not very hard. So I do get some crazies in here.
Yeah, with being, I mean, I know you're on TikTok too, like I mentioned earlier, but being on TikTok now, when I'm scrolling sometimes, and it's a little different, I think, when you run a bowling center, like I help run a bowling center, some people might see these videos, like some of those kids sliding like onto the lane or throwing a ball, and like to them it's funny, or if you're not running a bowling center. But when you run a bowling center, those videos just like, when you see them, it's like, if somebody came into my center and did this, it just a whole different take on it when you see it.
So I do have a group of we do funny videos like that actually for TikTok, and even during filming, even though I'm right there next to them and I know they're not going to ruin my lanes and I know that they're going to, listen to me, I still am like, I like clench a little bit. I'm like, okay, let's be a little careful, but I do still do those funny videos because they're hilarious, but it is very nerve-wracking. And then you also have to put like, don't do this, please. Like, don't do it at any bowling alley, and you kind of got to put that out there that it's not something that you should be doing.
Yeah. I want to mention to our viewers, we're talking about, running a bowling center, but Autumn, you don't just run this bowling center, you actually have purchased this bowling center. So can you tell us a little bit about how did you get in the bowling business?
So I was really, really fortunate. So pretty much I've worked here for a total of 4 years, going on to 5 now. So I worked for previous owners. I was their lane mechanic, and did some with the front desk, but I had really bad social anxiety, believe it or not. And so pretty much the place, the whole building, the plaza that we're in is falling apart. Candlepin is unfortunately a dying sport. We had the previous owner was also landlord of the place, and they no longer had interest in running the place and were thinking of tearing the entire building down. I had gotten super nerdy about Candlepin, and it just become something that I loved, and I had such a fascination about it that when I had learned this, I started searching for people that would be interested in taking over so I could still work for them. Upon talking to the landlord, he gave a price, and I then told, that person that was interested the price, and they're like, yeah, no, I don't think I can make that work. I also don't have time in my schedule. And so it was a little nerve wracking to definitely think about the place being torn down. So upon talking to the landlord a little bit more and, telling them how much of a passion I had about it, no one else was interested, at that time. And I think they just really saw, how much I love the place, and they offered me a really good deal. And we didn't have to do Laster for security or anything. I had the help of family of, doing some renovations as well. And was able to get a really great deal. And so pretty much shortly afterwards, my fiance, he owns the comic book store right next to me. He was doing so well that he ended up actually taking over the plaza from that landlord, and actually made my rent even lower until I'm able to actually get up, get my lanes redone, the machines and all that. So I was just very, very fortunate. So I used my COVID stimulus that had come in, some money I've been saving for a truck for a while, just all of that, and kind of poured it into the place. And I have not regretted it. It's been quite a lot for sure, and a lot of stuff has happened, but I have just been extremely, extremely lucky.
That's good. Well, at least it fell into the right hands. It went to the right person, the right owner. I'm sure that person's even, I don't know if you still speak to them, but they're probably happy to see that you're keeping it going.
They are, yeah.
And not only did you acquire a business and a bowling center, but I understand that you actually live upstairs, right?
Yeah. No,
How much more convenient?
Yeah. No, I love it. It definitely, I have some friends. So pretty much when I first took over, I lost almost all my friends in the process because I put all of my hours into the place. It was no longer, I mean, I had just gotten really out of high school. I was 18. And so just getting out of high school, everyone's like, let's go hang out. We're out of high school, and they all want to have fun. And I had, just started doing this and running it by myself. And a lot of them, I think, just thought that I, didn't want to be friends with them still. They got annoyed with it. I was never available to do anything. And I definitely felt like I was being used a lot as well because I had a bowling center. And a lot of them were bummed out because I would probably say I'm the goody two shoes. So people, I feel like if any of my friends were to be having the place, it'd be after hours parties, things like that. And I was trying to be responsible with the place. So, I lost a lot, and pretty much it was, I have been here. So pretty much I work 7 days a week right now. I'm about to change my hours, about to be closed Monday and Tuesdays to finally enjoy my summer. But I finally, acquired some friends that are, they get it. I have a busy lifestyle. And also, I feel bad for my family. Most of my family has moved away. And so I barely get to see them. I have a 3-year-old sister that I usually just FaceTime, and it saddens me greatly. But I know that I got to start working on that and with relationships, because family should be come before business. So I will be finally, taking some days off this summer to actually go out and enjoy. But living here, I probably was getting out once a week, just to get groceries, errands for the place. Other than that, I'm here all the time. So
I totally I get what you mean about being used. I feel like my kids are extra nice to me, so I take them to our bowling center. So I get that part.
yeah. No, I have a good group of friends now. They actually come in and they volunteer their time here. They definitely bowl here a lot, but they come in, they see they come to stop in and say hi. And if I'm super crazy, they see some tables need washed or something, they'll grab spray bottles, they'll start wiping away, they'll check my bathrooms for me. Anything that I need, they're there for me, and I am so thankful for it because they see my passion. And but yeah, they get to bowl here for free. I won't deny. They come right in, and if I'm slow enough, I'll be like, yeah, go on, hop in a lane. They know how to set themselves right up. And usually if I get time, I try to join them, but usually I'm scrubbing a lane or something by them, but I still get to actually, be around them. And it's been very, awesome to have their help in that.
So are you a bowler? When did you start bowling if you are a big bowler?
I mean, I think I bowled a little bit as a child, but nothing extreme. I wouldn't call myself a bowler at all. I mean, I started working here right before I turned 18. And I definitely bowled on almost all my breaks when I was lane mechanic. I bowled like all the time. Once I actually took over and started running it by myself, I maybe bowl once a month. It has gotten more, yeah. But I am a very terrible bowler. I am the type of person that I start really good and then it just goes downhill from there. I have to test the lanes every single day before I open. So I have 12 lanes, but I've never had all 12 working. Right now I have 10 working lanes. I had 11 at one point, which is the most I've ever had. I started out with 4 working lanes when I took over.
Wow.
So every day to make sure that they're going through a cycle at least once for each one, make sure they're doing well. Sometimes they've been too hot, sometimes they've been too cold for like the grease and stuff back there. And so pretty much I go down, so I test them all. The first lane, I'm like, all right, this is pretty good. And then I get to like the 3rd or 4th lane and I start to get gutter balls, and then I'm like, whatever, I lost it. So great, but I have been doing a little bit more bowling since we were going to the slow season. I've been finding myself sometimes I can't sleep, and conveniently I have a bowling alley downstairs, so I actually come down in the AM, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. if I can't sleep, and we'll kind of, throw a couple balls down. Or if I'm upset, like this past month has been insane on me. And I think bowling has really helped relieve that. I won't deny. So.
And talking about like the repairs, how did you even get into? How did you learn how to repair? Did you take classes? Is it something you just started doing on your own? Because I'm sure it could be pretty difficult, especially being older machines.
I wish they had classes for it. Like I really wish. So pretty much it was a joke when I came in. I wasn't even looking for a job because I was working at Dairy Queen at the time. And I had made a joke about wanting to work on mechanics because I helped my dad with like blueberry harvesters and whatnot. So I always liked things like that. And I always wondered what goes on behind the scenes of a bowling alley. And well, the owner was like very cool with it, which and whenever I came here with friends, never was cool with anyone going behind the lanes. Like there was not a thought you were going to be able to go back there. And so I was just very convenient. And they're like, you know what, if you got what it takes, let's see what you got. I was trained by the previous owner and owner before that as well. It was so rigged back there. I found clothespins, clothes hangers, bubble gum. I lifted up. So when I say bubble gum and duct tape, I am so serious. I went to replace 2 tube reducers back there. And I'm wondering, I see the slots for the bolts to go in, but there's no bolts, but it's down. I'm trying to lift it up and it's not coming up. I started using a chisel and there was 3 wads of duct tape underneath of each reducer there. And the ramps were held with duct tape and like they used household objects insanely back there. And so pretty much upon taking over, I learned a little bit, but mostly it's learning on your own. You watch what's going on. When something breaks, you compare it to another lane, which is also very tricky because usually the lanes would be all alike. These ones were very different. Wiring was different. They put in different parts. One of them would have like a wood rod for the actual chain of the gears and stuff like that. Another one would actually have a different part and it would operate a little bit differently. So it was extremely hard to do that, but it's what you had to do. And you just had to kind of figure it out. I was told that we had the oldest pin setters. We had the first ever model, the prototype machines. So what I have been told is that these were it. This was the prototype. They never made a model again like this. They made models after that are similar, but that they stopped making the parts for them, which I had come to realize actually after talking to Scott Moore and his son Cam. They have been doing a lot of like focusing on, repairing pin setters and trying to save Candlepin as well. I realized that they do make parts. It's actually like the structure of my machines. The steel is rotting. They're falling apart. It's only a matter of time. So I'm slowly working with them to replace each little thing with newer things. But originally when I took over, it was, you are going to have to replace each machine, which is going to be $25,000 a lane. And so that scared me. It really did, but I was still wanting to do so and I wanted to save the place. So right now, with the parts and whatnot, it probably does come around 20 grand a lane with all the parts, but I'm slowly doing like the worst stuff first and working myself up from there. So that's kind of what's going on there. So like I said, I started with 4 working lanes and it was during COVID. With COVID, you could only use every other lane. And that was really tricky because all 4 of the working lanes were next to each other. So I had 2 lanes that I had available when I first took over. I went in debt $20,000 because of that. It was just so insane keeping the electric on. I had lanes going, just the power from the lanes it's insane. And things like that. So I went in debt by a lot. I then took a break with COVID. I thought I was going to get better. I kept going and going. So I took a break. I shut down and I was probably shut down for about 4 months. And in that 4 months, I spent all my time back there and I stripped one lane 5, because it was always had trouble, always a troublemaker lane. I stripped that lane completely from its parts to fix up as many lanes as possible. And I ended up with 8 working lanes. I then kept on going and going, working with, Scott and Cam, and finally, got myself to 11. And right now I just have my very first lane, the sweep that comes down is broken. It came off the track. So that's a very, simple, just when I have time to fix it kind of thing. Yeah. And only one that's really down is 5. And I'm actually slowly putting parts back on that as well, to try to regain that. But in all of my life because I've come here, as a child, not often as all, but, I was here, I've never seen lane 5 running. And so that's like my top goal right now. I finally put power to it the other day. I did all the wiring by myself, and or sorry, on lane 5, I did get some help. I have a master electrician. He actually came to help me, but I've been doing like all the parts and stuff by myself. And finally, a couple weeks ago, I flicked on the switch and the lights came on. And I was like, yes, I was so excited. It felt so good. But yeah, no, yeah, I really have 11 working lanes. And like I said, it started out with just really 2, and so it was really tough. And I just, as of November of last year, dug myself out of that $20,000 in debt. So I'm finally, finally, and just saving up to be able to get more parts to get them all fixed up. So.
Wow. Your determination, I so admire your determination. I mean, your passion to save the sport is something that it's very easy to see. You are speaking about it, but more so just seeing the dedication and the sacrifice that you've made to the center is just incredible. And, it doesn't just end with you spending an enormous amount of time and energy there at the center to make it go, but you were also going to school. You were teaching. That just shows me that your dedication and your desire to fulfill things that you see as your dream, you're putting them into action. And that, this group in particular was started to help people continue to have hope and not lose hope. It was started at the beginning of the pandemic when things were so hard for everybody, as you know firsthand. And this is such an appropriate message. You are such a shining example of not giving up and being dedicated to something that you're very passionate about. So for me, I would like to say thank you very much, for continuing your efforts to save this very this great tradition in this industry, and your dedication just to life in general of doing the right thing is just incredible. Having peer pressure and overcoming the peer pressure and all of those things that we discussed on the show today, for you being a very young 20-year-old, and to have that kind of thought process is just remarkable. And so you should stand up and take a bow. We all owe you a little bit of gratitude. So I'm blown away. I truly have a great deal of respect for what you're doing. So
Yeah,
Thank you.
I know you mentioned your lane 5 is a big goal, but that was one of my questions. What is your future goal for the center?
So I have a 5-year and I have a 10-year, maybe 10, 15-year goal. My 5-year goal is to have the center back up and running like it used to be. I am doing so, like, obviously this place needs upgrades and bad. But my thing is I am doing not a modern upgrade, but a retro upgrade. I love the nostalgia, the vibes that you get, when you come through the door. Even before I started doing like the retroness, like right now I'm working on my wall and it's filled with like retro pictures. I have a Polaroid camera that I've taken of the lanes that I put up front so people can actually see them. And I'm just trying to, keep that with it. So, I mean, getting it to have, keep those, the nostalgia with it, and to get all the lanes running good, to be able to actually have employees, here helping me. One of my top priorities here is to keep the place clean. So I'm not like a germaphobe by any means. I'm get very filthy every single day. I'm not going to deny. I come up here and I get ready for a sandwich. My, hands are caked in grease. I'm leaving fingerprints on my food. Like, everyone's like, what are you doing? It's not me, but, for others that are coming in, bowling alleys are naturally very dirty entertainment places. I mean, people are handling the bowling balls, that's probably the most touched thing. And then you have the public bathrooms, like just everything is, filthy in here. And so one of the top things is I'm really excited to be able to hire people, so that this place is being kept clean as well. So not only am I talking about the nostalgia, you're also smelling how old the place is as well. And so like things like that, so that's a top priority of mine as well. But really, 5 years, I think that's a pretty good goal for myself and for the place. I think that all the lanes should be working well by then. I should have employees hired, and just everything running really at top notch. And from there, it should be just upgrades to the building itself. My 10 to 15-year goal, with saving the sport of Candlepin, it's not, I mean, yes, it's, going to be great with saving this place, but you're really going to want to expand. So I don't know if you guys know, but Candlepin is just really a New England and Canadian sport. And so I'd like to actually bring Candlepin outside of that area and introduce it, out there. So I'm actually was looking at location. Obviously, like I said, this is, quite far in but I've been looking at locations in North Carolina, of building or taking a building that already is there, transferring it to Candlepin Bowling. I think I'd be doing a half 10 pin, half Candlepin center. This is because, I even have people that come here that are looking for a 10 pin when they come in, and very, very rarely do I have people that come in that go, oh, this isn't 10 pin, I'm leaving, but it does happen. So I want to be able to have both there, have your normal, traditional 10 pin, and then you have something new. But also I think to be able to advertise as like, hey, the highest score is only 245, and bring in those people that have done the 300 for 10 pin to try to bring them over to the other side. But so that would be the goal, is to be able to expand. I'd like to be working on a second location, 10 to 15 years from now. Honestly, so many people have asked me, like, do you really want to be a lane bowling alley owner for the rest of your life? Like, is that what you want to do? And yeah, I think I do. This place has given me so much strength. I used to be very dependent. I always depended on literally everyone around me. Like I said, I had really bad social anxiety. I couldn't answer the phone without almost being in tears. It was so much for me. And now, as you can see, I'm a chatterbox. This place brought it out. When I took over, and when I started to run things, I didn't really realize how much of it, like, it's literally just me here. I had to be at the front desk all the time. I had to check people in, check people out, answer all the phone calls. And being just one person as well, I overloaded myself with so much. And it was really hard. I also have people, because I do a reservation system, because it's just me here and I book so quickly, that I have people that come through the doors, and I've had very rude people come in. And I had one time I had an email in which, someone reached out and they said, whoever owns this business, you're doomed. The child at the front desk doesn't know what she's doing, and to say that she gets overwhelmed for being just herself. I've never seen more than one bowling alley clerk in my life at a bowling alley. And like, I get that a lot, so many times more than you know. But I also have a lot of people that, love and adore what I'm doing and the place, and, putting in that support for me. But I do get that, and it does hurt. And I feel that this place has been such a safe place for me, and it's helping me build on myself. I get to meet so many amazing people, and it's just been so awesome. And so now my social anxiety is literally diminished. I really don't have any issues with that anymore. So that's been amazing. I went through an abusive relationship beforehand, and I've even gotten to get over that in a way, because I've been able to, having this my safe place. I used to shake when I would see them, things like that. And they've even come here to bowl, and it was a relief to be like, this is my place, this is my environment, I can control it. So I've gotten over so many things, and it's been truly amazing. Like, even like just bringing this place and keeping it alive for the community and for people to enjoy, to make memories, things like that. Not only is it doing that, but it's also making me into a better person. And so, yeah, I think I do want to be doing this for at least a really long time. I love the families that come in. I'm very cheesy. I leave notebooks at my table. So I have a table for every single, I would move the camera, but I'm afraid it will lose connection. But so I have a table for every single lane. So when you come in, I know reservation is like, bowling's a spur of the moment decisions. I feel so bad doing it that way, but it's the best way for me right now. So you come in, I do chalkboard signs. They're about this big. And I do like some sort of decoration over them. Like I draw, sketch something, let's say like main theme, like some blueberries or something. I put their name and the time of their reservation. And I set them they have a table with their lane. And so they have that. And there's a little notebook at their table and also a little booklet about Candlepin bowling. So the notebook is like recommendations, reviews, you can write like anything in there. I read through them every single night. And there are some that are like, we brought the kids out and it was so good to see them off the electronics, or like, oh my gosh, we haven't had family time in so long. And it feels so good. And I get to see,
makes it all worth it.
oh gosh, yeah. And I see the families come in, and my family has been such like always hard on like family time. And like when I was going through my relationship beforehand, they were like, family time is something that you're not supposed to have. Like your family's just trying to control you. And so like I missed out on a lot of it because I listened. Yeah. And so now I'm trying to regain that, but then also helping other families, especially with the, how everything is with electronics and everything. You go to dinner and everyone's on their phones and whatnot, but here, I mean, the only time I see them like bring their phone out is when they're recording. They're like, yeah, you got to strike, and they're getting so excited. But it's so good to see, just everyone enjoying their time. It's just such a happy place. And I think that's one of my favorite things about this place, really.
I like the idea. I like the idea of the nostalgia, because we've talked before, like, there's all this new technology, which is obviously cool to have, but then you find a center every once in a while that's really retro, and it gets a lot of, people always want new, but then every once in a while when they see something old, they think it's really cool. So I have a question. I have a request, actually. So I collect vinyl records. If you think a record might look cool up on your wall, I'll send you a message and I'll let you pick one of these old vinyl records I have, and you can hang it up on your wall there.
Be awesome. I actually have right now I have fake vinyl records up on the wall for now, because I'm searching for some. So that would actually be awesome. But yeah, no, I am literally trying to convert everything over. I even use like the chalkboard like wall paint. I just put that up behind my desk, and I get to draw whatever I want on there. So I'll put up like, the pricing and events and things like that. But I can draw things. And yeah, it's just been really, really cool. So but yeah, no, I think just with a step back in time is almost what it is. It's really cool to have places like that. And I've seen a lot of bowling alleys where I look at them, I'm like, oh man, that must be so nice. Like, look at that scoring system. Like, oh, that's so cool. And like they got somewhere like the lanes, when you bowl down them, like it lights up and it follows your ball down. And like those are so cool. But at the same time, I mean, we're going to just keep on getting better with technology, and those things are going to keep on, getting better. And there's going to be so many more things, but things like these things are dying out. Not just, this sport, just things, retro related. Like it's such a cool thing to have. And, I've had a few people that come in, they're like, oh, old rundown bowling alley. And I'm like, what? And some people don't have the eye for it, and of course it's run down. Like I'm working on it, but it's still so cool to have that. It is. So I'm trying to save not only the sport, but also, the nostalgia of the place as well.
Yeah,
well,
I
you
think
are doing a great job of doing that.
Yeah. And I feel you gave a lot of obviously good advice and just the way you're living life. Is there anything you want to share before we go, like some type of advice for maybe other young managers or somebody that's young looking to get, and just people in general?
Yeah, I would honestly say like stick with it. I've had so many bad things happen. I can start a list and just go on with how many things have happened to me just in taking over this place. And I think the one thing that has kept me going, which I have to thank my mom greatly for, is there's a positive in every single situation. And that was so hard for me to see that because she's always been on top. Like I come home from school and like I had the worst day ever, I got picked on or something. And my mom would be like, all right, what was the positive thing in your day? I'm like, really, mom? Like, come on, bad day. But like, it was always like, she always did that. And today it's almost like just like that, like something happened.
Automatic.
I had the whole bowling alley flood in my first week of taking over. The AC unit burst, it burst, but it flooded and it came down and it literally came like that close to getting on top of the approach. And if it would have gotten the approach, that's $25K alone to redo. It happened and I cried about it. I did, but just like that, I thought of the positive. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God it didn't go on the lanes, I'm
Yeah.
lucky, this is going to be okay. We can go get, we did carpet cleaners and we sucked up all the water. But like the biggest thing is really to just keep going, because literally there's so many people that I would say that did try to stop me. They're fuel to my fire is what I looked at it as. And there's always a positive in every situation. And I think having that mindset is what kept me going. I think without that mindset, I think I would have given up, like probably within the first 3 months of taking this place over. It is just like a keep going, and you have to realize that there's going to be people not on your side, and there's going to be a lot of people on your side as well. I have so many people that come in through this business and they start to give me business advice and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, like you're already doing great, I apologize. I'm like, no, I'm 20, like please give me. And there's so many things I started doing because of other people's advice. So I say take the advice, stay positive, keep in just that positive mindset, and just keep on going, because I was working at Dairy Queen before this. I mean, like I never thought this was going to happen. Your life could change just like that, and I think you just got to keep moving forward. So
Wonderful. I want to do a shout out. We have some viewers that have joined us today. Greg, welcome. Jim, welcome. Joey, welcome. We also have a question. If you could update one thing in your center, what would it be?
To update, I mean, really the machines, that would be really nice. I mean, it's the building. It's the actual building itself that needs to be updated. This building is falling apart. I mean, so many leaks have happened, just from the roof and whatnot. But I know that's a wide, thing as well. But I would really say the machines is really what would like to be updated, because once those are running really well, then I can focus on other things of the actual building and things like that. But that would be my top priority.
Awesome. Well, thank you for answering that. And viewers, thanks for joining us today. Autumn, I want to say this has truly been one of the most inspirational shows that I have done. And we're so happy that you took time out today. This might be the only hour of this week that you get to sit quietly and get your thoughts together. So we thank you for that. We value your time. And you have just been a great guest to have on our show. And we really appreciate you allowing us to come into your life and see what you're doing there to save this very valuable tradition of Candlepin bowling.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really excited to join this with you guys. And but yeah, no, I am very grateful, and it's been awesome to be on with you guys, and I appreciate all the viewers. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Well, Beyond the Frame viewers, if you have any other questions for Autumn, leave them here in the comments section. Again, join us in saying thank you to Autumn for what she's doing for the bowling industry and Candlepins in particular. I'm sure she would love to hear some words of encouragement from you. And viewers, continue to join us, tell your friends about us, share this video with your staff. We just had a Seeds of Success drop this morning. So we appreciate you following Beyond the Frame. And until next time, keep up the good work, Autumn. It was just a pleasure. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon, everyone.